Herzlich willkommen bei Giga Games, hier ist euer Dominik und wir sind hier in London auf dem Project Morpheus Event.
Macht nichts. Sie haben hier gerade das Project Morpheus in die Finger bekommen. Wir werden nämlich Virtual Reality spielen. Ich bin sehr gespannt, denn ich habe bisher noch nicht gezockt. Und ja, kommt einfach mit und wir probieren es ein klein wenig aus. Das ist das erste Mal, dass ich jetzt ein Morpheus anhaben werde. Ich habe mir vorhin die Erklärung angeschaut. Ich habe bisher nicht so viel Erfahrung, was Virtual Reality angeht. Ein bisschen Oculus gespielt, aber das soll ja noch mal eine Nummer anders sein. Ich hoffe, dass ich es leicht drauf bekomme. Ich will nicht so ziehen, dass es auseinanderbricht. Ich mache einfach mal, ja. Ah ja, ich sehe schon was. Okay, alles klar. Ja, ich sehe bestimmt gut aus, oder? Ich weiß nicht mal, wo die Kamera ist. Ich sag mal da. Hallo Kamera. Schön, Sie zu sehen. Ich bin sehr gespannt. Jetzt wird Rigs gespielt. Ein bisschen, ja, Speedball, Powerball, 3 gegen 3. Tore machen. Ich bin ein Hunter, sehr schnell. Ich drehe mich mal jetzt hier hin, vielleicht ist die Kamera da. Ja, ich bin gespannt, wie wir das machen. Man muss sich selbst als Ball benutzen, aufladen und Action machen. Ich hoffe, dass ich es einigermaßen gut kann, auch wenn ich bisher noch nicht gespielt habe. It was my first time trying out Morpheus, so...
Wow,
oh.
That's amazing.
Ja, das Head-Tracking ist sensationell, wirklich. Egal, wo du hinguckst, du kannst sehen, ein bisschen ungewohnt, dass man mit dem Gucken dann strafen muss. Aber ich habe mich gut geschlagen. Ich habe mindestens 2 Tore gemacht, Zweitplatzierter bei den Punkten, ein paar gekillt sogar. Und ey, boah, wenn ich mir vorstelle, dass die sowas früher in den Spielhallen gehabt hätten, ich wäre wahrscheinlich nicht mehr rausgekommen danach, wirklich. It was my first time trying Morpheus out, so and I had the impression if this was something that was back in the arcades in the 80s and 90s, it would look quite different. It's really an arcade game, for my feeling.
In terms of it being accessible, yes, I think it probably is. I think we've got a lot more depth in our game than a pure arcade game. You know, we're creating a deep first-person shooter with a sports wrapper around it. You know, they're creating our sports fantasy. I think there are arcade elements of it in terms of accessibility, but I think there is more to it, although we're not showing that today, obviously.
So I meant it a bit more from the wow factor, of course. You have people trying it on for the first time. It's I actually liked it almost a little bit more than sitting in the beginning and just taking a look around and being in this lift being put up there. So it's kind of like, yeah, now it arrived, virtual reality. So that was a feeling.
We think so, yeah. I mean, we definitely want to create a true game for Morpheus, and you know, the people do definitely appreciate the sitting in the garage at the beginning, looking at the rig, acclimatizing, getting used to the world, getting a sense of the scale, which never comes across in videos. But when you sit there and you've got the virtual reality set on and you're dealing with Morpheus, you get a real good impression of how big these rigs are, how imposing, how powerful they are, and then of course you're thrown into the match itself.
How fast do you think, or you've probably made the experience, do people adapt to not only the headset, but of course you're controlling it differently? So you're looking around instead of using the right stick. So how fast do people adapt to it?
I think one of the really exciting things actually is how quickly people have found that they can get used to the control set, but actually using their head to look and steer the rig. People have found that really intuitive, and I think, as Piers touched upon, because everything in the game is designed to give you a level of immersion. So you actually, when you put the headset on, you feel like you're in the rig. You can look down and see your body. So it creates this level of intuitivity that actually allows you to just start going and moving and getting target acquisition and take to the game really quickly. Actually, this experience here is throwing you into the game action quite quickly. In the actual game, we'd have more of an acclimatization period and training and things as well. So the fact that people are already able to get in and play and have fun is a really good sign for it.
You have a lot of height differences, of course, in the game. If you die, you're up there and you can choose your respawn point. So do people react with vertigo to this? If you have vertigo, you shouldn't play the game, or how does it come to people? Yeah. Is this a fire alarm? It's basically because of the hot questions I'm asking. Okay, ja, der Feueralarm, wir müssen alle raus, das Interview ist aber immer noch nicht vorbei. Dann, so let's finish this while walking. So do people experience vertigo because of all the height differences there?
One of the things we've tried to do is we've obviously spent a lot of time making sure it's a comfortable experience. So actually ejecting out and going up into the sky, we found people were okay with that. Coming back down and landing in the rig, one of the things we do is put a bubble around you so you don't get any strobing when you go past the environment. So we've tested it extensively and actually found the pressure points for when people get uncomfortable and made sure we adapt the game design to accommodate that.
Most people, we've done the ejection route on, there's an instant moment of shock the first time it happens, and then actually beyond that it's excitement. The height in the game, I think it's something we play to as a strength within rigs.
Okay, great. Then that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now get out of here before we're burned. Yeah. Let's get out. No panic. No panic. Everything's all right. Bekleckert würde ich jetzt nicht sagen unbedingt, aber es war, wie schon der Kollege erklärt hat, nicht wirklich richtig 1:1, wie man so Fußball spielen will, weil ansonsten hätte ich alles getroffen. Ja? Aber man muss sich anpassen an die Technik. Also das muss wohl noch ein bisschen geschliffen werden in der Richtung, bis es wie wirklich richtiger Fußball funktioniert. Oder du probierst es hier mehrfach, bis du die Eigenheiten des Games dann raus hast. Du musst deinen Körper trennen von deinen Fähigkeiten. Dann klappt es wahrscheinlich auch mit dem Nachbarn oder der Nachbarin. Als nächstes dran ist das Lieblingsspiel der Deutschen, wahrscheinlich, also nach Fußball, Kranfahrer. Ja, es war tatsächlich ganz cool. Ein bisschen was anderes, ausnahmsweise nicht aus der Ego-Perspektive, sondern Third-Person Point-and-Click gemacht. Und ich habe sogar Rätsel gelöst, indem ich einfach hier das Spiel gehackt habe beim Spielen. Also einfach über den Roboter rübergelaufen. Ist aber alles okay. Ist was ich mir angucken würde, weil ich mag Point-and-Click und jetzt hier durch die Umgebung, vor allem so ganz weit oben in so einer Wolkenstadt zu sein. Ganz anders als das, was wir vorhin gemacht haben. Also ich hatte hier, finde ich, bis jetzt mehr Spaß als beim Fußball noch. Weil das Fußball muss noch mal ein bisschen austariert werden. Give me a second. Hello, Mr. Snail. How you do? Oh, you're a bit ugly. What is this? Why? Why is this happening to me? Jetzt steigern wir mal das griechische Bruttoinlandsprodukt. Ich werde nämlich jetzt einen Juwelenraub begehen, also im Spiel, nachher hier in London. Aber ich setze mich jetzt mal hin. Oh Gott. Warum? Ich hatte ihn fast. Almost had him.
How was that?
Oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, that was fantastic. Really. So much fun. Es hat so viel Spaß gemacht. Einfach da zu sitzen, dann hier wechseln, zack, 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 zack. Ey, das war bisher wirklich das Beste, was ich gespielt habe. Das hat echt Fun gemacht. Man weiß natürlich nicht, wie schnell sich das abnutzt. Ja, weil man immer sagt, okay, jetzt habe ich das gemacht, aber das einmal so zu erleben, das war richtig cool. Also, ich freue mich.
I'm gonna bring you to crack, you little piece of shit!
I don't give a monkey's fuck what Frank thinks about you. I don't trust you. And you know why? Because there's only two people who could have taken Serena today. You or me. And it weren't fucking me. Now you tell me where the... Fuck's sake. What are you playing at down there? You remember the plan. Get Serena, go home. But you gotta get out of there before more.
Das war auch ziemlich cool, muss ich sagen, obwohl ich jetzt noch ein bisschen mehr geflasht war, als ich mit der Autofahrt unterwegs war, weil man da einfach nur Action, 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 Action hatte. Hier schön, ey, Cover-Shooter, wo man selber Cover nehmen muss, ja, das wird entweder schön für den Spielspaß förderlich sein oder förderlich für die Einnahmen der Krankenversicherung, weil die alle sich so Rückenverletzungen holen, vom Hinknien und Hochheben. Aus der Hüfte, Leute, ne? Wisst ihr schon, es funktioniert, aber ey, genau das sind so die Anwendungen, auch am Anfang mit dem Typen, der mit einem spricht, so drumherum und so weiter, dahin geht. Ich habe schon gesagt, ne, mit dem Head-Tracking, so dass du direkt in die Richtung guckst und sich auch das Bild dahin bewegt, das packt dich wesentlich mehr rein als andere Sachen. Und insgesamt würde ich sagen, wenn man die beiden zusammennimmt und ein Spiel dann draus macht, das ist auf jeden Fall die interessanteste und spaßigste Anwendung bisher.
What a marvelous age we live in.
Ich sitze hier gerade mit Simon Benson von Sony, der die Immersion Group. So first, before I explain it wrong in German, what exactly do you do for Sony? Simon.
Yeah, so my job really is to take any technology and see how the technology, the physical technology, can be applied to games to make them more immersive. So obviously that's why we're doing virtual reality, because it's a technology you add to gaming and you see how you can make that more immersive. But in the same way, things like Move, 3D television, all those kind of things would kind of fall into my team, to look at these things that are a technology, that how can they make games more immersive. So that's really what we do.
Yeah, so it was the first time today I got to try out Morpheus. So I had a little bit experience with VR, tried a little bit of the Oculus, tried back in the day for a couple of minutes before I got the headache, the old VR sets. So what do you say is the distinctive thing that makes Morpheus different from the other ones? What's your advantage here?
So really, I think one of our big advantages is, because we're PlayStation, and our view of VR, the PlayStation VR if you like, is to take this technology, which is really advanced technology, but make it be really accessible. Make it be that anyone can just get it, plug it into their PlayStation, and it just works. You don't have to configure anything, you don't have to set anything up, it just works. So making VR very accessible.
Another thing that's important for me, I'm a big fan of horror games.
Right.
So just trying to scale, of course, you had a lot of great horror games in the past, but a little bit the shine is off because you experienced so much. As an example, I really liked PT when it came as a demo a year ago, and I always look forward, if it would become a full game, to try it out with Morpheus, just to get this immersion, the scare factor in there. So do you think something like this, not only being in the world, but to scare you like you've never been scared before?
I think certainly with virtual reality, if you think about the tools that we can now give people to use creatively. So for example, just the fact that we've got an OLED display in Morpheus, and now the great thing with OLED display is it does black properly. You can make black be black, so you can basically remove light entirely. So you can put people into pitch darkness or really, really low lighting conditions, and that can be really quite a good thing for horror genre. But we've also got 3D audio, and that gets really interesting, because you've got this idea that we can put sounds anywhere, not just around you, but maybe above and below you, and you can understand the distance that the sound's coming from. So you could get the sound at the area where you're maybe in a completely dark world with only a tiny bit of light, but there's little light sources, but you've got head tracking, so you're looking around, saying, where's this coming from? And you're hearing a scraping sound coming from somewhere. But you know exactly where that sound's coming from, but you look and it's in darkness. And maybe we give you a move control that's a little torch, but its batteries are a bit faulty, so it's flickering, and you're shining it in that area. And you can see how all these little things, these little tools that we have, can be put together to make all sorts of amazing experiences, you know. And the proximity, the fact that it's stereoscopic 3D, means you could draw a zombie or a witch or a horror character and feel that they're really in your personal space. You know, they could be this close to you, jumping right in your face, and you'd believe they're that close to you, and they're this size. So, you know, you can really replicate these things quite readily.
Are you afraid that maybe all the things you can think of course, you have the opportunity to try it out, that there's some ways you could go a little bit too far? So imagine having such a horror thing and have to put, please don't play this if you have a peacemaker, or something like having a big shooter, you're in a cover fire and everybody's shooting over your head, like to get some kind of virtual PTSD or something. So are these thoughts that you have?
So certainly I think as far as that's concerned, it's pretty much the same as it's always been, because people say there's things you can put on a TV screen that you wouldn't really want to see. You know, there's horrendous things you can just put on a normal TV screen, and you know, we've done a good job of keeping that away from gaming, and I think the same rules will apply. You know, we've got our measures in place where we can make sure that any content that goes on our platform, because it's a controlled thing, can be moderated, and I think there is a responsibility to avoid those kind of things in the same way there is with gaming now, you know, with conventional gaming on a conventional TV. So it's no different problem really. I think it's the same thing that has always been done, and fortunately we've got so much history of making games, like 20 years in now, that it's an area we're very familiar with.
Mm-hmm. So to close it off, in your own opinion, of all the stuff you've been working on, you've seen here or at Sony, what's the favorite thing you've done yet in VR? Or is there something still, yeah, I have this idea, I wanted to make it, it just takes a little while. What is it?
Okay, so there's a two-part answer to that. So the favourite experience that exists at the moment that we have here is definitely the London Heist and the London Getaway, because they put you in a world and they connect you to that world so thoroughly, because you've got your hands in there as well and you're interacting with things in the world, and there's characters in the world that are interacting with you, and you kind of believe them, and they react to the way you look at them and things like that. So that's a really powerful experience. But in terms of what comes next, I think the potential for online interaction in virtual reality is massive. The idea that me and you could be, maybe we're playing a game where we're both driving in a car or something like that. We're both wearing our headsets, but you're at home in your country, I'm at home in my country, and we're playing together. I could look at you, I could talk to you, you could use a 3D audio so the sound feels like it's coming from this side of you. You could see my avatar about the same size as me, you'd feel the same proximity, you'd know where I'm looking. And it's just such a strong connection. You think bringing your buddies along that you play online games with, but actually feeling as though you're in the same space with them, no matter where you are in the world, is incredibly powerful. And you can tell the difference between something that's animated and something that is someone's true human motion that goes with what they say and all the way they present themselves. You know, you could probably even just know which friend it was by the way they move their head and things like that. It's incredible, and I think we'll see a lot of that as we go forward.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. One last question. Was this real, the fire alarm, or was it a virtual one? We're still sitting here with the glasses. I'm not quite sure.
This is it. We'll find out later.
We'll find out later.
Switch the technology.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Rocket Beans. TV. Ist. Cool. Tja, das war's vom PlayStation Morpheus Event. Wir haben viele Sachen hier ausprobiert. Ich muss sagen, das erste Mal, weil ich jetzt ein bisschen länger auch das Morpheus aufgehabt und Virtual Reality, ansonsten immer nur ein bisschen hier und da das Oculus ausprobiert. Das ist schon eine ziemlich coole Sache. Ich weiß nicht, ob es komplett dann eben ersetzen wird, wie ich Spiele spielen werde, aber so alleine die London Heist-Nummer hat super viel Spaß gemacht. Das Rigs hier war auch sehr interessant, da das Gefühl zu haben, so einer großen Maschinerie drin zu sein. Die kleinen Ideen, die wir gesehen haben, ich bin sehr gespannt drauf, was hier draus macht. Mir fehlt dann noch wirklich dieses Horrorspiel, ja, was mitgeliefert wird mit Morpheus und einer Windel. Die möchte ich mir am liebsten anziehen, weil sie dabei ist. Aber ich finde auf jeden Fall cool, dass das Head-Tracking so gut funktioniert und dass man noch nicht so viel Treiber, Schmuh und Kabel hier anschließen und das machen, wie bei Oculus machen muss, sondern einfach ein PS4 dran klemmen und fertig aus und mach mal. Ich glaube, ich reserviere mir eins, ja, wenn es soweit ist. Also, mir hat Spaß gemacht und wenn ihr die Möglichkeit habt, es auch auszuprobieren, tut es, dann denkt ihr vielleicht ein klein bisschen anders über VR. Tschüss. Wo ist eigentlich unser Flug, Eduard? Wie gecancelt? Wir müssen noch einen Tag in London bleiben?